This video is brought to you by 1 Week in Paris, my brand new course that has just gone live. Join me as I shoot with 6 different beautiful Parisian models, over 14 hours of uncut 4K content, raw files and more. You can see full details below. Hi folks, hi Felicia.
Hi.
You well?
Yeah, good.
That's good. Today we're in this retro studio because I have an adapter I want to test out. This is the new Megadap ETZ21 Pro Plus, a bit of a mouthful. The Plus denotes that it's the latest generation over the previous Pro. This is generation 3. Essentially, it takes an E-mount lens on the front and then it plugs onto a Nikon Z camera. And this has full pass-through, so you should get full autofocus and all of that, and this adds some new great features over the previous generations. Now I think there's a few markets for this. Sony shooters who maybe want to pick up a Nikon body for video features or something and want to be able to use their Sony lenses. Sony users who might be moving to Nikon and don't want to have to rebuy all their lenses, or Nikon users who want to get a smaller, lighter Sony body as their second camera, be able to get a few lenses for that and still have the ability to put those back onto their Nikon cameras. So we're going to shoot it through on the Z8 and the Z9 with a bunch of different Sony brand and third-party lenses in auto and manual focus and test out the new features. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be testing these lenses via adapter on the Z9 using the latest firmware as well as the Z8, and just in edit I can let you know we tested it both with firmware 3.00 and 3.01, and actually there was very little variation across the two cameras and the different firmware. Interestingly, no matter which lens we put on, the camera was recognizing at least 2 custom function buttons, even though some of them had one, some of them had none. So I set button 1 to switch the eye that was being used for autofocus, and custom button 2 to initiate playback. So throughout this, I'll make reference to that, letting you know which ones worked. Tamron 35 to 150. So this kind of curtain is perfect for this. Look out through the curtain, beautiful. Yeah, I think it's fair to say this is just working great. And all of our function buttons are switching the eye from one to the other. Now, the new guy actually adds in a bunch of features over the previous one, and first and foremost on my list, and from the questions I got from you guys, this one now has full weather sealing. Now, it's funny, a brand says it's weather sealed and we mostly just take it for granted. Okay, so it's weather sealed. In this case, what it means is the adapter on the Z side has the small gasket, and then it's got a little cutout, a track in the E side for lenses that are weather sealed, for that to plug into. So it should work just fine, but I'm also not going to run my camera underwater to test that. So it's got that seal. I don't know if it's 100% weather sealed, but it should be providing more protection than if it didn't have that little gasket. Another cool thing, this guy now has manual focus confirmation. Now, what that means is the Nikon cameras, when you're focusing, it will change the box from red to green when whatever the box is on has hit and it's in focus. Now that works both for manual focus only lenses, but it also works for autofocus lenses if you have them set to manual focus. So if you're shooting a nightscape or a cityscape or something in really low light conditions where manual focus suits you better than autofocus, this now will let you get that focus confirmation on your Nikon body from your E-mount lens. Now, one feature that this guy has on paper that unfortunately I can't test for you, it says that it now supports the Sony LAEA5 adapter, which will let you get the old A-mount Sony lenses and put them onto an E-mount body. So then you would have your old lens on that adapter on this adapter, and then this adapter on your Nikon camera, and you get a full Frankenstein to use your 10-year-old A-mount lenses on your Z-mount body. You're literally going from A to Z in that case. Kind of cool, but we don't have any of those lenses or that adapter to test it for you. In terms of the physical design, they say the mechanical construction and the design of the button is a lot better. I did note when I used the old one that it was a bit hard to get to. it's still in an odd place. You're not pushing down on the body, you're pushing across it to get to the thing. But having switched lots of lenses over the last few days shooting with it, I haven't had any issue with it. So it's just a bit, you got to get your head around that the Sony lens twists on one way and then it twists onto the camera body the other way, because Nikon and Sony are opposites, but it does seem to be working fine. The other thing, it says that the electroplating on the terminals has been improved, which to me says the previous one had problems and the plating was wearing out and people were losing connection. So again, I haven't been using this long enough to test that, but that's what they say, they've improved it. They also say that this guy supports the new RED cameras as well as Nikon Z cameras. Now, I assume that means that the firmware's updated to work with all of the newest models, because the RED cameras, it's just a Z mount anyway, so that's not really a selling point, but that's kind of cool. And the other thing that I think is really great, this is saying that it now supports custom function button use. So if you have these buttons that you can program to, say, make a settings change, like this Tamron one has 3 buttons, normally when you adapt that to your Nikon body, you couldn't really expect that it's going to be able to communicate all that data. Well, now they're saying it does. I don't know if it'll let you customize all of them or just one. It'll be interesting to see how the Nikon body recognizes them to program them, seeing they're not lenses that it's necessarily matte to be able to use. So we're just taking 5. Felicia's gone to change whilst we're here in the studio. We're filming YouTube, but also getting content for Patreon Uncut. If you haven't seen it, we do dedicated shoots for Patreon where we're doing like a boudoir shoot and it's only shown there. And we also show behind the scenes of different photo shoots where it's completely uncut. It's called Patreon Uncut because you see all the chit chat, the setting up, all of the messing around, that kind of thing, uncensored, uncut, unfiltered, whereas a YouTube videos spend days being edited down into something coherent. You can see full details of it in the description below. So let's start off doing some here with the KASE 85. So it does take a little second to get your head in the right space. So I've got to go which dot to which dot. So where, oh, it's hard with old eyes. This is not a criticism of the adapter, it just does take a little second. So this has to go on like a Nikon. So there's its, no, that's not it because it's down there. So we just spent like too long trying to find the markers. I always find this confusing. Some lenses in there, some it's on the back of the lens. This one it's actually on the little plate. So you're looking for the dot on the top. That lines up with your Nikon logo. And then it puts your release terminal down near your inside of the grip. And then you've got your marking here is where the E-mount lens marking wants to go. And now you're mounting this in the direction that an E-mount lens goes, not in the direction that you're used to putting on your Nikon lenses. And again, it's probably just that I have really bad eyes there. Okay, yeah. There. So that goes on there. And on my Nikon, it turns the other way, but this one turns that way. In terms of focus acquisition and stickiness, the KASE was doing just fine. I would have thought that it was a Z-mount lens in terms of its performance on the adapter. However, despite it having custom function buttons, neither of them were doing anything. I tried a few different options and it just didn't seem to communicate with the Nikon body. Yeah, so I've set them, but they're actually not doing anything. So there you go, some little feedback. Look, whether you're a Nikon shooter or a Sony Alpha shooter, check out my expert setup guides below. I have it for both systems. They run you through every camera in the system, showing you how to get the most out of them and how to quickly find the things in the menu and set them up in the way that you want, so you're not spending valuable time stuck in the menu trying to figure out the complex menu systems. You spend more time shooting. Full details in my link tree below. Sigma 35 Art E-mount. Yes, custom function is working. Autofocus is working, aperture ring on the lens is working, by the camera is working. A great option. The only thing, it seems to be overexposing for my taste. But kind of a cool shot. What was that? Is the Sigma got lens stabilization?
No.
What the fuck was that then? There was just a thunk and the image moved. It looked like stabilization having a hissy fit. I've never seen that on this camera before though. Possible it's the sensor stabilization having an issue with the adapter. I can't really replicate that for you guys. I'll try to put some on Atomos later, and if we see it again, I'll show you, but it was just like the image just, and I did feel a little clunk. It didn't feel like something breaking, but it did look like an IBIS issue. But there's an issue I wanted to bring up early with you guys, and that is I can't speak to how reliable Megadap is going to be in the future with these adapters. I have no relationship with the company. I've heard from a couple of you on YouTube that you bought products that have then been no longer getting updates and they become bricks. Things like firmware 3.0 on the Nikon Z8 famously disabled some official, allowed Z-mount Tamron lenses that then you had to wait and get new firmware. So when that kind of things happens, you're relying on Megadap or the lens manufacturers to come out with updates to make them keep working. In a way, you can't expect a brand to support every Nikon camera and every new firmware forever, but I think it is fair to try and get a clear answer on how long they do it for. Is it a certain number of years or a certain number of generations? So I've written to Megadap to try and get clarity on that issue for you. I haven't heard back. By the conclusion, I'll give you any update I have. But for now, other than that terrifying clunk I just saw, the Sigma is doing great in this challenging lighting situation. And we're going to continue shooting here and start removing the kimono for some Patreon content. Okay, the 1.2, it is picking her up, same as on the Z9. It's telling me I have a 1.1 to work with. Let's see how the custom function buttons are doing here. I will put the custom function buttons on this one to be, again, switching the eye, and custom button number 2 to be playback. So just like before, and let's check them. Okay, so on the Viltrox, neither of the custom function buttons are working. But yes, the aperture on the camera works. Autofocus with tracking is perfect. And using the aperture ring on the lens also works fine. Still, that goes to 1.2, but once I override it and do it in camera, it's telling me 1. So, long story short, the Viltrox is fine. What's going on now? It's not turning on. Well, I should be full and fair in my reporting. I just turned the camera on and it was frozen for 2 seconds before it turned on. But now it's working fine. So yeah, despite updating the firmware on the adapter, the camera and the lens, the custom function buttons on the Viltrox aren't working. Next up, the Sony 16-35 G Master, and it seems to be working just fine. And checking the custom function button. Yeah, here the eye switching does work. I shot with the 16-35 outdoors in Central on a couple of different model shoots, both with Hana and Felicia, and on some other shoots, and I'd say this was probably the top performer of all the 6 we tested, closely followed by the Sigma 35. Okay, so the Samyang has no custom function buttons, no autofocus, but as I pull focus in video, yes, I'm getting a green dot telling me that that is right in focus. Out, in, and out again. Okay, great. Again though, it's not registering the real aperture value on the lens. If I go to stills, so full manual focus lens, but we do have subject detection because the Z8 firmware 3.0 offers that. So if I zoom in, even though it's moving around, it keeps the focus point on her eye for me. And when I'm back on the wide shot, it still tells me there that when I've gotten it in focus. So pretty great that I can recompose and have it detect her. And that's because I'm on human subject detect. If I had it on animals or whatever, it would still detect them even in manual focus. Okay folks, so I'll try and keep this summary. I did really enjoy shooting with the adapter. No, not all of the function buttons worked across, but for that kind of portraiture, the autofocus was working fine. I think for video, it would be mostly fine as well. I would love something like this permanently in my kit to be able to get access to smaller, lighter lenses and more lenses than Nikon offer. Like the Viltrox 35-1.2 is a third of the price of Nikon's one, so you could get it in E-mount and bring it across. Also like Sony's 51.2 or Sigma's 300-600, all lenses that personally interest me as a Nikon shooter that this would facilitate. There are, however, two concerns that I have, and you need to weigh up the risk of this for yourself because I can't say what the risk is to you. The first is, just think about the number of variations here. There could be 8 or 10 different Nikon bodies in use, and there could be 100, 150 potential different E-mount lenses out there that you wanted to adapt. So that's thousands of total combinations that you could be looking at. And you're basically relying on Megadap's engineering know-how and rapidness of updates to keep them working, because if either the lens gets a major update or the camera does, and you do that update, it could, I'm not saying it will, but it could brick the adapter and you'd be locked out, because at the end of the day, both the lens maker and the camera maker aren't supporting this, so it's kind of a rogue element. Now, with those thousands of potential variations, you couldn't expect a company to keep giving updates indefinitely, especially they need to grow their product range, right? So I did write to Megadap and I prodded and prodded and prodded for over a week to actually get a clear answer on this. And I did get a reasonably clear answer. I'm slightly paraphrasing here because it came in dribs and drabs over different emails, but essentially, normally, products are supported with firmware updates for 1 to 2 years, but this has not been confirmed for the ETZ21 series. Currently, the ETZ21 and 21 Pro, which are the two models before this one, have the same firmware as the Pro Plus, but the earlier two models will stop getting updates shortly. That's a quote, will stop getting updates shortly. So, on one hand, maybe you bought the ETZ21 several years ago, it's now 2 generations old, you might be surprised if it's no longer getting firmware. But seeing this one's just coming on the market, you might have bought the ETZ21 Pro 1 or 2 months ago, and it's just been updated, and it's shortly going to stop getting support. So it may still work for a year or 2 years. It may work until you go and do that big firmware update on your camera. But the fact is, if you start to hit problems with it and it's no longer reliable, at some point, the earlier ones will stop getting updates. And the time frame, to be honest, is a bit shorter than I would have expected. But the fact that they do get end-of-lifed is really no surprise to me. So it just comes down to you and what risk you're willing to accept. For us to be able to mix in a few extra lenses into our videography work or get access to stuff that my Sony shooting videographer owns on my Nikon bodies, that could be really cool. And for the review scenario that I mentioned, to not have to keep loaning in E-mount bodies. But for mission critical stuff or really high value lenses, I'm not sure that I have the faith to put it all on the line with a third-party adapter that neither the camera or the lens manufacturer are going to give you any support if you run into issues. Let me know your thoughts if you're using an adapter, which one, what lens to what camera, and let us know how you find it. I'll see you guys soon.